a small neighbourhood at the outskirts of Jerusalem's Old City. It's home to about 20,000 Palestinians. They call it Silwan. But to the growing number of Jewish settlers, the neighbourhood is Ir David, City of David.
It's of a special importance to the Jewish people because that is our ancestral heritage. And so everything we find, the entire story of the City of David, is really our story.
The settlers are backed by an organisation called Elad, whose aim is to strengthen the Jewish presence in this Palestinian neighbourhood. In some cases, that means the eviction of Palestinians from their homes.
שנבחרת היא בעצם שימוש בתיירות מורשת, על מנת, אני אהיה מאוד חד וברור, לייצר מציאות פוליטית עדכנית, אחרת בעיר דוד.
Over the last 15 years, nearly half of Elad's donated funding has come from offshore companies in the Caribbean, from an anonymous donor. But a leak of bank documents has found the man behind these companies, Chelsea Football Club's owner, Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich. BBC Arabic investigates. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israel occupied the West Bank and East Jerusalem. There are 220,000 Jewish settlers living in East Jerusalem. They live among at least 341,000 Palestinians. Under international law, the area is considered to be occupied territory and the settlements are deemed illegal. Israel does not accept this view, and neither does the Trump administration.
Hello everybody and welcome to Jerusalem once again, the City of David. It's amazing to have you back with us. You can imagine we're climbing underneath ancient Jerusalem right now.
To the millions of tourists who have visited the City of David, Elad presents itself as an archaeological organisation focused on telling the story of ancient Jerusalem. Elad say the biblical city of Jerusalem, captured by King David over 3,000 years ago, is located here.
I realize that this is the site of King David. He's known as King David in English, David in Hebrew, Daoud in Islam, and that this is an incredible opportunity for 4 billion people throughout the world to connect to the original site of the City of David.
But Elad has been criticised for the less advertised part of their mission, strengthening the Jewish connection to Jerusalem through Jewish settlement.
اليوم بدي أورجيكم كيف كان قبل ما يدخلوا المستوطنين علينا. يعني هاي الأرض اللي هي الموجودة هان تقريبا 2 دنم، وهي اليوم هاي الحدود اللي هو الشريط الأخضر اللي هون، وهذا ما كانش هاي بناية، كانت إلنا أرض كنا نلعب فيها وإحنا صغار.
Elad has been linked to numerous evictions of Palestinian families, including that of the Sumerin family. They live next door to the City of David.
هذه المنطقة كلياتها اللي هي مسماة وادي حلوة عنا، اليوم هي مستهدفة من المستوطنين بشكل خاص.
Hagit Ofran has been opposing settlements for years as part of the organisation Peace Now.
אפשר לראות כאן את כל השטחים החומים, שהם בעצם האזורים הפלסטיניים. כל הנקודות האדומות האלה, אלה בתים של מתנחלים בתוך שכונה הפלסטינית. והבית של משפחת סומרין הוא כרגע לא מסומן בנקודה, כי המתנחלים עוד לא הצליחו להשתלט עליו, נקווה שלא יצליחו.
From their launch in 1986 till 2005, former Elad marketing director Shahar Shilo says that settling Jewish families in Silwan was Elad's main activity.
באמצעות ההתיישבות אנחנו נוכיח בעלות, ריבונות, נשנה את המציאות.
It was in 2005, Shahar Shilo says, that Elad turned to tourism as a means to a particular end.
התפיסה הייתה, אנחנו רוצים הרבה מאוד תיירים, אנחנו צריכים תיירות, כי באמצעות תיירות נוכל לעצב מציאות ולהשפיע על דעת הקהל.
Elad has not responded to the BBC's question about whether tourism was a way for them to enable more Jewish settlement in the area. Over the years, the total number of visitors to Elad's City of David has increased dramatically, and some never left. There's also been a gradual but steady growth in the number of Jewish settlers who've been settled by Elad in Silwan. All this growth has cost a lot of money, and Elad relies heavily on donations to fund its work.
כל עמותה מחויבת בשקיפות לגבי תרומות בגובה מסוים. עמותת אלעד פרסמה מין רשימת תורמים, אבל שלא אומרת כלום.
Elad does list many donors that are easy to identify, both individuals and organisations. But nearly half of Elad's donations between 2005 and 2018 came from just 4 BVI-based companies: Cantley Investments Limited, Farley, Ovington and Leiston Holdings Limited. They were all registered on the same day in the British Virgin Islands. The way these companies are structured makes it impossible for the public to know who's behind them. The names of these 4 companies also appear in a set of bank documents leaked to BuzzFeed News. They shared them with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists and the BBC. In the documents, banks report information about financial transactions and ownership of companies. Roman Abramovich is named as the ultimate beneficial owner of 3 companies and controls a 4th. Those companies have donated more than $100 million to Elad between 2005 and 2018. That makes Roman Abramovich the single biggest donor to the settler organisation. In 2018, Mr. Abramovich was granted citizenship in Israel after facing long delays to his UK visa application. He's well known for his charitable giving. A spokesman for Mr. Abramovich has told the BBC he's a committed and generous supporter of Israeli and Jewish civil society. But until now, he's never been officially associated with any donations to any settler organisation. The donations from his companies started in 2005, and they have enabled Elad to become the organisation they are today. In 2007, these companies were responsible for almost 90% of Elad's donations. In that year, the majority of donations were used to fund various projects of development and settlement in the city of David.
متوقع انه يطلع قرار اليوم يعني انه مش متوقع انه لا احد يعني يطلع قرار يقول لك اطلع من الدار يعني لا بالعكس عندهم ولا اسهل منها عندهم ولا اسهل منها جمله.
The Soumarine family are on their way to Jerusalem District Court. They have to prove they have the right to live in the house members of their family have lived in since 1959.
سلمين
سمرين
محمود محمد سمرين
أنا أمل سمرين
لا تصوريش لأنه مش بتلا بايتش لأنه.
With funding and support from NGOs and the Palestinian Authority, the family have been fighting an Israeli eviction order since 1991. The BBC has found evidence that the case against them and several other houses in Silwan has been funded by Elad. Asked by the BBC whether they were still funding the case, Elad did not respond. Elad has told the BBC they abide by the laws and regulations Israel set for non-profit organisations in terms of transparency of their donations. And on the question of whether Roman Abramovich is a donor to Elad, they say,
it's our policy to respect the privacy of our donors. One can very easily walk around the city of David and see the signs of the donors that have decided to put their names there.
The Soumarine case is not unique. Donations to Elad have enabled them to expand their footprint in Silwan. According to Peace Now's research, Elad owns and runs tourist sites on this land and has settled Jewish families in these houses. The Israeli government permits and supports Elad's work, both the settling and the digging. In 2016, the UN Security Council deemed settlement activity in occupied East Jerusalem a flagrant violation of international law by Israel. But Israel disputes this. They do not consider East Jerusalem to be occupied territory.
International law has many different views and many different actors. There are many nations and countries who in fact support Israeli sovereignty over this area.
Only the United States, Guatemala and Honduras recognise Israel's sovereignty over the entire city of Jerusalem. Elad's strategy seems to be working. Within just 30 years, with the support of Israel's richest man, Roman Abramovich, for many, in Israel and around the world, the Palestinian neighbourhood of Silwan has become the city of David.